staying alive, I'm staying alive, I'm staying alive, I'm staying alive. Try me. Wanted me to cry, wanted me to die. Ah, 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 ah. If you put the machines and all that shit behind me like they be having in the studio, I'll be all right. I'll be all right. Nah, man. I know somebody's gonna rip a piece of this shit and have me all on Twitter or some shit. Like, don't meme me, man. You know what I'm saying? I done had some memes in my time. You know what I'm saying? I done had some memes about me in my time. The do you believe and all types of stuff y'all got at me for, and I'll take it as shot. I appreciate anybody that's already subscribed, any new subscribers that are definitely checking for not just the type of entertainment we've always brought to this channel, but as well as my podcast. We're not going to slow down. We're going to keep going. I've always enjoyed connecting with people on a mental level. You know what I'm saying? Like, those that know me know one thing that I really enjoy is debate. We got a bunch of topics to jump through today. Some interesting stuff that's been on my mind that I just want to chop up with y'all. But the first topic that I wanna jump to, and I won't spend too much time here because I don't want everybody to, I don't want to bring people's energy down too much. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people mourning right now, and rightfully so. The hip hop world and the battle rap culture. I don't want to just say the battle rap culture, the hip hop world, because the man is known outside of battle rap as well. The hip hop world lost a very significant person by the name of Pat Stay. Hopefully everybody that's watching this knows who that man is. If you don't, go familiarize yourself with his work. Pat Stay is more so known as one of the biggest battle rappers, even in the literal sense, right? His fucking stature. He's a real big guy, but he's one of the biggest battle rappers in battle rap history. And he passed, depending on when you see this particular episode drop, a couple days ago. And there's a lot of people mourning right now. It made my whole shit drop. You know what I'm saying? When I heard the news bright and early in the morning, like 7 o'clock in the morning or something like that, I was frozen for a second. I ain't gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, wow. You know what I mean? Because I don't know. I'm not the person that takes life for granted at all. But it's just different when things come out of left field like that, and especially when it's a good person. You know what I'm saying? It's like Pat Stay. I wasn't the closest person to him. I didn't know too much about him personally or whatever. I just had the honor of working with him several times. So of course, during working with him, I had chances to build with him. Phone conversations and business, and then you hang out for a few after like a battle or whatever. Good old VIP room upstairs in Club Drum. You know what I'm saying? For those of y'all that's in the loop, you get to really see somebody in their norm. You know what I'm saying? Off camera. I mean, and he's always been came across as like a real good dude. You know what I'm saying? And condolences to Pat Stay's friends and his family. I know there's people that are very, very close to him in the battle rap culture that I'm pretty sure is really, really going through it right now. And I like to tell y'all or remind y'all, to stay strong, hold your head to the best of your ability. But there's a GoFundMe as well that's up for Pat Stay. It's real nice to see that's doing well. It's nice to see that's doing well because he's a family man. He leaves behind a family, I believe, 2 children, I believe. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But all in all, a good dude, very, very talented man. He has this presence in person and on camera that's just like very commanding. And, despite him being this big, tall, you know what I'm saying, muscular guy, he comes across like one of the most gentle giants. You know what I'm saying? He's always making people laugh. He's very, very well known for his humor. He's very, very well known for not being constricted or having any phobias. If you understand what I'm saying, if you know Pat Stay, you know what I'm saying. He didn't have any phobias. He actually entertained it more than anything, like crossing those lines and toting those lines of like, y'all are all way too machismo. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna joke about this. I'm gonna play about this. I'm gonna have a rap about this. I'll say, if you know Pat Stay, you know what I'm talking about. And I think that's dope. That's dope. Outside of his humor too, dropped a lot of gems. It's like me as a battle rap blogger and analyst, and also a matchmaker. Over the years, I've always analyzed artists, and Pat Stay was a guy I always looked at and said, he tends to have a formula to his battles. He's going to have more of a general round, a comedic round, and a real talk round. And in a time like this, you want to see, him making people laugh and him laughing and everything. And that's a lot of the clips and the videos that's going around right now, rightfully so. Um, he brought smiles to a lot of faces, but I don't forget the gems. You know what I'm saying? I always felt that was also a big part of his material as well. He always dropped a lot of gems. You know what I'm saying? You watch his Hollow battle, you watch his Avert battle. It doesn't matter. I'm just really making a point of the man. He spread a good message too. You know what I'm saying? He spread a lot of laughs, a lot of good messages and gems, and that's going to be his legacy, deservingly so. That's going to be a big part of his legacy, and it makes you think. That's one of the few things that you could leave behind that can carry multiple generations, right? Your legacy. Money runs out. Um, the people that you touched or affected, they will one day pass on as well. But one thing that can continue and continue and continue to carry on is one's legacy, even your profile and your body of work. It's like his library and his body of work will be around forever. You know what I'm saying? It could be passed down through generations. He can have his children's 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 children say, this is like your great 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 grandfather's performance back in Toronto or back in California or back in New York back in the 2000s. You know what I'm saying? Your legacy is one of the few things that can continue to guarantee you to be carried for generations to come. I think at this point, a lot of us have digested the bad news. So instead, I wanted this to be a condolences, a shout out, and a rest in peace to Pat Stay, and also, a remembrance of all his good, which is what I think a lot of people are doing right now anyway. So if you see the GoFundMe out there, donate, you know what I'm saying, and continue to let that man's name carry on and live on, because he deserves it and he earned it. And I'm pretty sure, even outside of what we all knew him as an artist and as a rapper and as a battle rapper, I'm pretty sure in his real regular life too, around his immediates, that, they saw a lot of good, or the same good that we saw in him as well. Probably that much more. This one's a controversial one that I saw recently. And oh man, it probably made a lot of people. So it probably made everybody that saw it sick to their stomach. Sick to their stomach. Parents should have been sick to their stomach. If you have morals, you should be sick to your stomach. If you're an adult, you should be sick to your stomach. If you have any maturity about you, you should be sick to your stomach. It's a clip, and it's supposed to be based in comedy. Because Aries Spears and Tiffany Haddish, they're more comedians than anything, right? And Aries Spears, of course, he does stand-up comedy. I watched Aries Spears speak on, the backlash that he got about speaking on Lizzo, in a recent Vlad TV interview. And you want to know what's crazy? I actually side with him, not knowing, everything else totally, totally attached to it. If I just watch that interview and I hear him explain why he got backlash and how he feels about it, I rock with, his explanation. Because for the most part, what he's talking about is freedom of speech, which always isn't a good thing. You got some people with freedom of speech that could say some horrible, stupid ass, disgusting ass things. But bigger than that to me is the fact that he's protecting the integrity of what it is to be a comedian. I'm an 80s baby. I come from an era where the F word means fuck. The F word does not mean fuck anymore. Like when you see interviewers or podcasters or artists or movie stars or whatever on camera and they say, yo, he called him the F word. He doesn't mean fuck. There's certain words that you can't even say in today's society anymore. Things have continued to evolve and change. And it's definitely affected all forms of entertainment, including comedians. You know what I'm saying? It feels like the only person that could really talk about certain things on camera as a comedian and get away with it is Dave Chappelle. You know, like he's like the only one that can go in certain pockets and talk about certain type of topics. Look at Eddie Murphy's classics, you know, Delirious and Raw. You know, there's topics in there that it's not happening today. There's no way these comedians can talk that type of stuff today. Now, don't get it twisted. Society evolves, as it should. We evolve culturally as well. Uh, TV, entertainment, radio, they all evolve. Certain things are directly tied to a dollar and ad revenue and certain type of sponsorships, etc. So, of course, people don't want their product, you know, associated with you know, racial slurs, for example, or you know, downplaying an entire demographic of people because of maybe their sexual preference. You know what I'm saying? If I was a sponsor and I was going to some TV network and I was saying, hey, here's $1 million, advertise my product over the next X amount of time, X amount of months or whatever, you know, give me my commercial slots or whatever. I don't necessarily want it popping up, you know, with some piece of content that's downplaying somebody based on their sexual preference or using racial slurs and stuff like that and calling people. I'm not even gonna go there. You know, I'm not even gonna say. So definitely understand the different layers of why things continue to change with money aspects and the continued growth of content and the amount of money that's out there and just overall sensitivity and especially in America, just overall sensitivity. You know, mental health wasn't a term 20 years ago. It wasn't. You know what I'm saying? Like I think George Carlin, and I'm going way, way off. This is all tying into the Aries Spears thing, so stay with me. But I remember a piece from George Carlin, and he was like kind of getting into the differences of how certain type of, you know, language has evolved over the years and gotten so sensitive to the point where we can overlook the severity of what these things mean or what's actually happening. For example, you know, he's talking about people coming home from war and they called it like shell shock. You know what shell shock is, right? Like the shells, like the bombs, the actual shells and the explosions going off. And you see like depictions of stuff like that, like in the movie Dead Presidents. Dude goes to war, he comes home, and then, you know, he has these nightmares and his dreams, he's waking up in cold sweat, screaming or whatever, because he's just what he experienced over there during war is just like so traumatic. So what George Carlin was breaking down, he was like, you know, these soldiers is coming home, you know, and they have these conditions now where their minds ain't right, and they're having these headaches or their night sweats or these nightmares, and we call it shell shock. That's what it was called. Fast forward, shell shock is too stabbing of a term. You know what I'm saying? It's too direct of a term. It's too painful of a term. So they evolved the terminology of shell shock into post-traumatic war syndrome or something like that. You know, it makes it sound like something that you can clear up with like a fucking a shot of penicillin or something, right? But the point remains true that sometimes we dumb things down so much that we miss the actual root cause of the severity of the situation. I feel like that's all relevant to like the Aries Spears interview on DJ Vlad about his backlash that he got for his Lizzo comments. I feel like that's relevant, right? Because if you're protecting the integrity of a comedian, you know, and he's breaking it down, he's like, everything I see can be turned into a joke. That's my life. You know, I bleed this oath of being a comedian. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's really important to us. Like, but society is changing things where we can't have a sense of humor, even though this is what I do for a living. And this is the oath that I took in this space. And then not only that, I accept it coming back. If somebody wants to talk about me or my weight or my appearance or the way that I look or the way that I talk, I welcome it. So I kind of respect his breakdown on Vlad there. But now, in a short amount of time later now, this clip that's going around with him and Tiffany Haddish now. So let me get back to a small description of what it is. It's like a comedy skit of same way you can't say the F word is a P word. And I'm not talking about a female's anatomy. Let me help you spell the first letters, PED. All right. Or for short, PEDO. They might call you that. All right. So hopefully a lot of y'all picking up on the kind of title and the direction of this skit, right? So you got this old man and is making a joke out of, to a degree, kind of preying on a little kid, a little boy that's like not dressed. You know what I'm saying? And we know there's sick people like that in this world. There's sick people that abduct children or put their hands on children or go after children or attracted to children. And what this skit does is it kind of takes that and creates a joke out of it, but it puts Aries Spears in this predator mode. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, like where he's holding up a newspaper over his face and he's got two holes cut out in the newspaper for his eyes to see through, as if he's sneaking a peek at this little kid. Now, I hope I painted enough picture in your mind where I don't have to go any further, because you should already start to be getting disgusted. But I thought it was ironic that he's already coming off a backlash of, crossing certain current times. But this right here, but this particular skit, I don't think it has anything to do with how people would be freaked out by it or disgusted by it based on the times. I don't care if you did this in the 90s or the 80s. This is all out disgusting. It's all out disgusting. I'm not some guy that's going to sit up here and call to action over him making this type of mistake. And I'll go that far and call it a mistake, maybe because maybe his comedic side got the best of him, or whoever was involved in the skit, whoever wrote it, whoever produced it, whoever shot it, and whoever acted on it. Maybe you guys are all, too much in a comedic bag, thinking like, oh, anything could be a joke. Not everything could be a joke. Whether you took that I'm a comedian oath, so this is what life should be like, or not. Whether you think today's times or today's world or today's society is sensitive to a lot more than it should be or not, there has to be a line drawn. There has to be lines that says this right here is not something I'm supposed to be doing as a man or as a woman, let alone putting it out to the public for other people to consume. Because you also got stupid people out there that can't even decipher whether what you're putting out there is good or bad. So of the millions of people that are disgusted, there still could be 100 people that might see that and be laughing, or might actually, repeat that like as if it's a good thing, or even worse, be turned on by it, thinking like, oh, this is an okay thing to do, I'm going to try it too. There has to be limits. What's the limit? Even in street code. Now, I'm not a street nigga, but I'm very aware of street code and street politics. I grew up how I grew up. I grew up around the people I grew up. And even today, as an old grown citizen man that doesn't have a street bone in him, I'm still very, very aware of what it is. You know what I'm saying? Even those codes is no children. No children. I don't prey on people's downfalls too often. So I hope somehow he can reconcile and clean that up, apologize, and hopefully just move on. I'm an 80s baby. Once again, I'm not the cancer culture guy. You know what I'm saying? I do believe that people deserve chances. I do believe that people deserve the opportunities to right their wrongs. There's certain shit that there's no coming back from. You know what I'm saying? Like, if that was real life and not a skit, and you actually did that in real life, there's no coming back for that. I wouldn't be up here saying like, I'm not personally the one that's trying to say, yo, take everything from him. If you did that, I would. I'd be like, yo, fuck him. Me personally, I'll never want to see him again. Nothing that I don't ever want to support, nothing. But I hope that he can get past this and clean this up. I do agree with Dave Chappelle in one respect. I think he said this in was it in Closer, or was it the one before? But he gave that little joke where he was just like, if you got, all this time of putting in work and then I find one little iota of you doing something wrong, I'm gonna end up coming back and taking everything from you. And who do I sound like? I sound like I sound like the crowd. That whole analogy is basically saying that you could do all this right, but then the world and the cancer culture and people will try to take everything from you for that one wrong. And sometimes that one wrong is deserving. Don't get it twisted. But there's a lot of times where I think maybe we try to burn people a little bit too fast, try to take every last thing from them when it's just like give the person an opportunity, maybe for an apology or a second chance, or sometimes even a third chance. Like, look what they did to Kevin Hart just for some old tweets. You know what I'm saying? And me personally, I was proud of Kevin Hart for taking a stand. Like, look, I know it was wrong, whatever, but you guys are really, I know what you guys are doing, how you guys are trying to put me in a certain corner, and I'm not going for it. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm not one of them guys, but disgusting is disgusting. You got to call a spade a spade. And it leads me to another point, too. Being that we're here talking about crossing the line and going too far. Once again, the power of a dollar. It's like I could use the classic example of Pulp Fiction. Now Pulp Fiction is a classic movie. Quentin Tarantino doing what Quentin Tarantino does. You have some scenes in that movie that are just going to carry forever. Like, obviously, when Travolta and Samuel L., you know what I'm saying, go to collect. Yeah, I mean, in the whole speech that Samuel L. gives, like, there's just some amazing shit in that movie. Quick sidebar. Shout out to my old barber Mo. That's right. I wasn't bald forever. Right. I had braids at one point. I had waves in high school. You know what I'm saying? Quick shout out to my old barber from Staten Island, Mo. Everybody from Staten Island know Heavy Set Mo. He's one of the best barbers in the whole borough. But I remember I lost a bet to him for like $50, $100, something like that. He bet me that in that Pulp Fiction briefcase was what was Ving Rhames' name in the movie? But I'll just say Ving Rhames. That Ving Rhames' soul was in that suitcase. In my mind, Pulp Fiction isn't a scientific sci-fi movie, or it's not some, fantasy type movie. Like, you got people getting shot and doing bets, bad boxing bets and everything, and on the run from mobsters from that and everything, saying Bruce Willis's role and everything. And I was just like, how do you get to the point where somebody's soul is in a briefcase? Like, get out of here. I thought that was like gold or something, like the way it opened up and it shined in Travolta's face, like that yellow glow. I thought I was like gold, like money or diamonds or some shit. Turns out, man, Quentin Tarantino strikes again. It was Marcellus. Yeah, Marcellus was his name. Marcellus Wallace's soul is in the shit. And they say even the scene when Bruce Willis comes to see him in the nightclub, and the camera's just from the back of Marcellus, the band-aid that's on his neck, that's supposed to be a depiction of supposedly if the devil takes your soul, he takes it from the back of your neck or the top of your spine or something like that, right? I didn't know all of this at the time when I first saw it. And Quentin Tarantino on his wild ass shit as always, right? But anyway, my bad. I had to jump my movie back for a second. But anyway, speaking of Pulp Fiction scenes, to make the point that I was making, trace back to what we just spoke about with Aries Spears and Tiffany Haddish and that disgusting ass shit that's going around. What is crossing the line? What is too much? The scene that Ving Rhames did, and the last thing I've ever been in my life is homophobic. It doesn't matter. I've never been that type of person. I'm not insecure. I'm not the guy to go. I'm not that at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm so grounded and so cool with anybody. And I've been like that even before this overly homophobic wave has come into society of everything being paused and everything being no homo. As a kid, I was always just comfortable being me regardless. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not that guy. But the point that I'm making is that still, if you are willing to do certain things like that for $1, I understand acting is acting. And it's like, oh, this is movie. This is just entertainment. But you have to set boundaries for yourself. You want to avoid people in this world that don't set boundaries, especially if they come off like they would do anything for $1. I gave an example like that on my Instagram recently as well, a couple weeks ago. I was asking a question. If somebody says that, I had to do what's good for me at that moment, right? I'm not speaking about anybody in particular, any specific situation. For those that know me from battle rap, right? This is a general conversation. If somebody is willing to say, I had to do what worked for me at that particular moment, is that not the formula of a snitch, right? Because when you're sitting in that box with the detectives in front of you questioning you, if you decided I had to do what worked best for me at that moment, that's when you start pulling everybody else in and say, oh no, this person was the one that gave it to me. This was the person that did it, not me. This is the person that said that we should do it. This is the person that was the driver, because you're doing what's best for you in that situation, right? Is that not the formula of a snitch, right? So how do you prevent that as an individual? Boundaries. No matter what, I will never do this. No matter what, I will never give in to that. No matter how much, I will never go over here. That's about. That's what that's about. And then they laugh at Dave Chappelle when he walks away from 50 million or some shit like that. He had certain boundaries that he wasn't willing to allow to be crossed, or him to cross himself. He had boundaries. So whether we're talking about that scene in Pulp Fiction, or whether we're talking about, this recent shit with Aries Spears or whatnot, that's just people not having boundaries. And me saying that it's because the person doesn't have boundaries is actually giving the person credit for their intelligence and their awareness. Because if that was like a child, or maybe even a teenager, or sometimes even a young man, because I didn't seen it all over the place. I didn't see young men do stupid shit where it's just like, nah, he wasn't thinking. Or young women. But even if it was like a child or a kid or something, like you get it. Like maybe they didn't fully interpret what they was doing, or maybe they didn't understand the lines that they were crossing, or maybe they didn't realize, like this ain't for me, or this is really a shame to do or disgusting to do. But I'm giving these people the credit of saying that. I think that they're very, very aware of the things that they're involved in. I think they're very, very smart individuals. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the reasons why I think they've gotten to the places that they've gotten. So if you have that intelligence, and if you have that awareness, yet you don't set these boundaries, you're just not my type of person. All right, here's another one. Is jail a good experience? I didn't say prison, I said jail. Is jail a good experience? So we see shows like, Scared Straight. And of course, the whole premise of it is to put some of these youth and some of these kids in the actual atmosphere of what it's like to be in prison, to be around those type of people, killers, murderers, rapists, thieves, liars, all that type of stuff. Put them in that element, even from the COs and the guards. And you know what I'm saying? See what that life is like, to just be screamed on and be a constant danger, and your life be in jeopardy every second of the day, or even being locked down 23-1, or what it's like to sit in a small box and look out through some bars and not be able to touch and hold and speak to your friends and your family, or just have the freedom to just shit when you want, eat when you want, walk outside when you want, go inside when you want, go take a drive somewhere, do anything, just freedom, period. That's the experience of a show like Scared Straight. Scared Straight, I think, even, still is scripted enough where it's just like, all right, it's a cute watch, but nothing comes close to the real thing. Nothing comes close to knowing that you're about to get, let's from the very first step, your mental, your chest, your whole vibe, the energy, the feeling of it's going down. Not just for jail and prison, like that happens in multiple situations. Like you'd be in the middle of a car crash and just realize like, oh shit, it's really happening. Scary shit. But let's stick to jail. The experience of knowing like, damn, I'm in trouble. You see it on TV, or when you're a kid, maybe you play cops and robbers and shit. If you go through that experience though, where the cuffs actually start to go onto your fucking wrists, and you realize like, I'm being put in the back of a police car. This is the shit that I see on TV. This is just like the early experiences of it. Like now you got people that have been arrested 50 times, and for them it's just like, it's whatever. I've been here, done that. This is the process. Cool. let me just speak to the people that have, for the first time, the experience, depending on who you are, it could be an extreme wake up call, or it could be frightening. For some people, it could even be fun, right? In today's society, you would think that everybody's like, oh yeah, I got a chance to go to jail. I got stripes now. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna get to Sopranos season 6. We just seen an example of that. Oh, it's cool to get shot. It helps your career. We'll talk about that later on. But that heading to that precinct, being placed in those holding cells, you know what I'm saying? And giving your information, going through the process, depending on when you got arrested, having to go see the judge, possibly then being moved to a prison, and or maybe given court dates and all that type of stuff, possibly not making bail, all of that shit that's going on, it could never be replicated on no damn TV show. You can't watch Scared Straight and get the experience of what it's like to really have those fucking cuffs go on your wrist and go through that process of losing your freedom. And said that, I asked the question, is going to jail a good experience? Inside of those walls is the true experience of what it's like to lose your freedom and not be able to do what you want to do when you want to do it, and to be cut off from society, to be cut off from those interactions, to be cut off from that human presence of interaction that you've become accustomed to. It's why some people go crazy. That's why they have the box. Why do you think that they have the box? It's almost designed to, I mean, of course, it's for punishment factors, whatever, but people go crazy in that shit for a reason, because their experiences and our makeup as humans doesn't fit that. The way our bodies and our minds and our emotions have been tailored, have been catered and built towards interaction, have been catered towards freedom and moving about. And when you put somebody in, let alone jail or the four walls or prison period, but the box within itself, you know what I'm saying? It's damn near designed to break everything that you have become accustomed to. Going to jail for all of those reasons, I feel like is a good experience, because, and when I say good experience, let me add some variables here. If you can go to jail, get the experience of what it's like to lose your freedom and be inside those walls, and still come out without any hindering or limiting ramifications, it's a good experience. And when I say anything hindering, meaning, for example, you didn't catch some wild ass F that prevents you from getting a job. If you could have that type of experience, I bet you a lot more of these youth would be straight. It's because the fear of consequences, the experience of those dramatic type of consequences is not there enough. That's a whole nother topic. We could talk about households being destroyed. We could talk about the father and the leader element not being there enough. You know what I'm saying? We could talk about even how laws have changed and how the average household, I shouldn't say the average household, a lot of households, even look at things like physical discipline differently. If you're an old man like me, you even remember small things like little occurrences in history that shift things, like Macaulay Culkin. Like, I felt like that was a shift. Like, I remember that. Like, I remember Macaulay Culkin, I think, was all in the news and everything for like threatening his parents for like physically, disciplining him or spanking him or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Fast forward, it was like these kids started to say that shit. Like you can't hit me. I know my rights. Once again, I saw the kid, Tony Soprano's son, say that shit. But I remember that experience from back when I was young, when Home Alone was coming out. And Macaulay Culkin was everywhere. And he was in the headlines and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like brought his parents up on charges or something like that, if I remember correctly. You know what I'm saying? So even elements like that not consistently being in households anymore. How much do our parents and our grandparents talk about going to get that switch out of the backyard? You know what I'm saying? Or belts. I don't know. Like if everybody and their mother was whipping these kids' ass with a belt these days, you see a lot of these parents catching charges. The threat of consequences is nowhere what it used to be. Having that experience of going to jail without having the limiting or the lifelong ramifications coming out afterwards is a good thing, is a good experience. Maybe I'll agree, maybe I'll disagree. Maybe I'm talking from experience my damn self. What do you think creates more violence, poverty or music? Now, one thing I got to start to do right off the rip is change the atmosphere of where I'm asking that question. So we definitely want to say America, right? Because some of these third world countries or whatever, like we know how crazy it is, and here in America, they say this is the land of opportunity, right? So when I say poverty versus music, I damn near only want to target American inner city hip hop culture. I kind of want to restrict my question only to that. When people say music is the soundtrack to our life, I don't know if that goes over everybody's heads. I don't know if we realize how much of an influence music really is. When people do things like, when they riding out, let's say to put in some type of work, you could talk about something that's nonviolent. You could just talk about like the gym, right? What type of music do you play when you work out? Do you play jazz? Huh? Do you play like some super duper slow love making music? No. You play the type of music that gets up your adrenaline, that moves you, that makes you motivated, that makes you hype. That's because music has that ability. The soundtrack to our life, it has that ability to stir emotions. You have a young lady over. What are you putting on? Well, I mean, I'm not saying that we don't fuck to everything. I didn't fuck to every different type of music under the sun. But I'm trying to say, like, when you want to set the mood, keyword mood, right? Put something nice on, some relaxed, some slow, something that's not so adrenaline pumping and got you all racy and all over the fucking place, right? Once again, it's because music creates a vibe, it sets a tone, it creates an energy, it stirs emotion. There's certain songs that can make you cry. There's certain songs that can make you want to kill. That's very, very real. Certain songs that could motivate you to be successful. Music is almost getting to a place where it requires only the responsible to tune in. It's almost getting to that level, because when I think about drill music, which I love, when I think about how popular it is for these people to be dissing each other, going at each other, the dissing of dead homies or smoking all these different packs and all that type of stuff, you know what I'm saying? The fact that it's more intriguing, the fact that these people make more money when they diss the dead, or when they give these little synopsis of murders that have possibly happened, or what they would do to their ops and all that type of stuff. It's more intriguing to people. So it makes more money, it gets more views, it gets more play. There's no doubt in my mind that 8 out of 10 people these days running around talking about my ops this, my ops that, is because it's becoming popular. And our music is one of the lead forces of making it popular. It's like people think it's cool to have ops. People think it's cool to have enemies. You got people that don't have a single enemy or a single op in the world, but they think it's cool because that's what they're listening to. It's like we're even getting desensitized to loss of life somewhat from our music. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I feel like, music consumption needs to become with another level of responsibility now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what it is in certain states to walk into a store and get a gun, and maybe, your background checks, or maybe you have to be licensed, or maybe in certain states you can't even walk into a store and buy a gun. You have to be of a certain type of clearance or classification to purchase a gun, maybe a security guard or some form of law enforcement to get a gun in certain states, right? But there's a form of responsibility that must come with some type of check in a lot of places, especially years back. I know the South is changing something crazy, but years back, most places, associate a certain form of responsibility with something that can be so strong, which is like a firearm or a weapon, right? Or something like a license. There's vehicular manslaughter for a reason. You can kill somebody with a car purposefully or accidentally. We could use our GOAT. I call him the GOAT. Jay-Z, man, he's a GOAT. GOAT, man. Get that man a GOAT crown. Stop playing. And not just because of the God there verse. He's been the GOAT, okay? Even though what we do is wrong, my personal interpretation of that title was always like, kind of aligned with his Moment of Clarity lyrics, right? Isn't it Moment of Clarity? Is that the song with truthfully, I want to rhyme like common sense, but I did 5 mil. I ain't been rhyming like common sense. When your sense got that much in common, you do sense, fucking do what sense. I know what I'm up against. You know what I'm saying? Like break down whatever those lines were. I know I fucking crucified it, but he's saying like, truthfully, I want to rhyme like common sense, the rapper Common. You know what I mean? But I did 5 mil. Money changing his course of what is really in his heart. I ain't been rhyming like common sense, SINCE, right? Think about that bar, that line. I want to be like this, but the money made me be like this. There's no other way to interpret that. That's literally what he said. Okay. Even though what we do is wrong, one of the best hip hop songs of all time, right? Classic. I've always interpreted that of even though what we do is wrong is like, you got to know the trade offs. You know what I'm saying? Think of the responsibility that Jay-Z, I know he's smart enough to know that. Well, indirect responsibility of the people that he affects simply because of how powerful his voice is. This is a guy that got us to take the rims off of our car, got us to wear button-up shirts, got us to wear jerseys, or he almost got rid of auto-tune for a second. When he did the death of auto-tune, he almost got rid of auto-tune. You know, even T-Pain had to walk out on the stage for that. I was there. You know what I'm saying? There's a list of things that Jay-Z has influenced and affected. Even at times, some of the shit that we drink, alcohol and shit. Like, so it's an extremely influential person. Of course, I'm not saying that you can't blame the stupid idiot that's spending his rent money on dumb shit that he heard in the song, but that's the influence and the power of music. You know what I'm saying? Even though what we do is wrong, like, how can you not know that the stuff that I'm saying might have this kid over here acting a way that could be detrimental to his own life? You gotta know that. All musicians should know that. They may not care, you know what I'm saying? But that's the power of music. Music is healing, music is destroying. It's both. It's both. You know what I'm saying? It's like, to me, and this is a whole nother topic I can get into. I could do an hour on this, but I've always equated that to what selling your soul really is. Okay. I know you can go the lane of selling your soul being spiritual, selling your soul being, on that other side of things, like the whole satanic, and you can get into the Freemasonry or the Illuminati and all that type, and the blood sacrifice. You get into all that type of stuff, right? You go to Alex Jones for that. I ain't getting into that bag right now. All right. But to me, selling your soul is exchanging what you know to be wrong, whether within your own chest or even if it's just detrimental to all the people around you, for some type of gain. And 9 times out of 10, those gains are money. Who we kidding, right? That's what I've always equated to selling your soul for. Dave Chappelle, once again, he didn't want to sell his soul. When Dave Chappelle did that interview where he was saying, like, why do all of our black actors, get approached by Hollywood and these studios and these producers and these directors to play these female roles or wear a dress? Something's weird. Like, I was approached by at one point, and I turned it down. I said no, and came back, and they were so persistent and adamant that I do a scene like this, and I was just like, why? Like, no, I'm good. Like, what's your reason for having to have me do this? So why are you so adamant about this, right? Whereas you can have the Ving Rhames that'll put that wig on or do that Pulp Fiction scene that we were talking about earlier in this podcast. And to me, those are forms of selling your soul. Those are forms of not having the boundaries, or just upfront deciding that, or knowing that, yeah, I know the adverse effect of what I'm doing, but I'm willing to have that trade-off for this gain over here. I'm willing to have that trade-off. And all of this ties to me into why I feel like music is becoming more and more of something that needs to be consumed by the responsible. I mean, music has been dangerous forever, right? You could flip it even on the other spectrum. Early on, when they were rolling over fucking NWA CDs with steamrollers and shit like that, and that depiction was also in the movie Straight Outta Compton. You know what I'm saying? When hip hop started to go into these households that it wasn't welcomed in. You know what I'm saying? Like, wait a minute. You know, the president's or the mayor's son is listening to this gangster rap. Oh, hold on, this is going too far. You know what I'm saying? Like, wait, this kid that's growing up in white suburbia is trying to sag his pants and wear gold chains and all this type of stuff. Oh, no, 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 no. The influence of it. That's like a different side of the spectrum. You know what I'm saying? If we talk about, you know, the poverty stricken areas, like I said, and the violence of these places, and it doesn't even have to be poverty. You know what I'm saying? When we talk about violence, but musically invoked violence, it's there and it's rampant. Do you really think that our music today is that much less prone to create violence than the poverty itself? If you look around and you see the way our youth are acting, you see the influence of our music, you see the way it's trending. I think y'all have seen enough at this point to not be naive and realize that music can be an extreme culprit of a lot of today's violence. Now, me being in battle rap, for a majority of y'all that will probably watch this podcast know me from, battle rap. It's a very, very competitive arena, from the bloggers to the battlers to the leagues and the companies and the platforms. Very competitive arena. Not only, of course, is hip hop competitive, but of course, there's money inside of battle rap as well, which creates a whole nother layer of competition. When does it not, right? When it comes to the good old dollar. Being in an industry where people are in a race, right? And I have a entrepreneur side to me. I have a corporate America side to me. I have a street side to me. I feel like I'm a very, very well versed person as far as how my character and my personality was made up over the years from my experiences and the things I've been involved with and the things I've been around. I'm very, very well rounded. You could put me in a room with a murderer. You could put me in a room with a millionaire. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I am. But when we talk about an industry where there's competition around rank, who's number one, who's the richest, who's the best, I don't ever want this statement that I'm about to say be misconstrued. I want to put y'all on to a sort of a philosophy that I've carried for a very, very long time. Even before battle rap, I feel like, even though battle rap made me remind myself of this more because of the competitive nature of the field. But I think one thing that we do in society way, way too often is we almost try to paint a non number one spot, or if you're not the best, as a failure. Logically, that makes no sense in the world, but you know, we're so overly used to competing at everything that we come across. If you watch movie A and movie B, we say that which one had to be better. If we listen to this person's album and that person's album, which one had to be better? You know, and sometimes things are supposed to be competing. You know, like, all right, these two albums, 50 Cent and Kanye's album, came out on the same day. You know, they're promoting it that way. We're looking at it that way. Let's see which is the better album. I get it. But you know, even though we're in these overly competitive spaces and we have these overly competitive reactions, even though damn near by nature, we make everything be a competition. And Lord knows I compete in a lot of things, and I've competed in a lot of things. You know, I've competed with my boys about women and the way we dress and, you know, clothes and all. I've competed over all types of stuff. I compete to this day. If I get on a basketball court right now with somebody, I'm going to be competing, right? I'm going to try to take somebody's head off. So I'm not saying that competition or competing or trying to be number one is ever a bad thing. Always strive to be number one. Always strive to be the best. But the statement that I'm about to make is you have to be careful of people that are manipulating you to try to make you believe that when something isn't number one or isn't the best, it's automatically bad, wrong, or lost. And I think I said this on my Instagram a while ago too. I want to use the same philosophy. I want to use NBA players, right? So if I ask you, who's the best basketball player in the world? Who comes to mind? Some people say MJ. Some people say LeBron. Some people say Bill Russell. Some people say Wilt. You know what I'm saying? Some people say Kobe. You could damn near have justifications or personal reasons why you would deem any of those guys number one. But I'll tell you some people that'll almost never come to mind when you think of the best of all time. People don't really think about Allen Iverson when they think about the best of all time. I don't hear Steph Curry argued in front of MJ or LeBron almost ever. I don't even have to be at that tier of somebody as idolized as an Allen Iverson or somebody as great as a Steph Curry. I can still talk about a Charles Barkley. I can still talk about a Reggie Miller. You know what I'm saying? I can still talk about some Hall of Fame centers like a Patrick Ewing. It's like people want to convince you sometimes that if you wasn't MJ, you had a bad career. That's the analogy that I'm painting right now. If you wasn't MJ, you had a bad career. There's just no way that you can convince somebody like me that if I set out to be an NBA player and my career ended as Allen Iverson, I ended up being Allen Iverson. There's no way that you can convince the type of person that I am that that's a bad thing. No way at all. Who's the best point guard of all time? You might say Chris Paul. You might say Magic Johnson. What about the guy named John Stockton? Didn't they say he had like the most steals of all time or some shit like that? Is it bad if you were John Stockton? People that have that mentality, I feel like either misled, misinformed, mistaught. There's even elements of becoming a hater if you indulge in that too much. You know what I'm saying? Like, who doesn't want to applaud for Allen Iverson's career or Charles Barkley's career or Shaquille O'Neal's career or Reggie Miller's career or John Stockton's career? Who doesn't want to applaud for that? Even people that went out way before they even saw their peak, like a Grant Hill or Brandon Roy or Anthony Hardaway. But I got that poster, Allen Iverson stepping over Tyronn Lue in my gym. You absolutely do get a lot of haters that come out of that. Whereas if you can realize and recognize success is success, you could sit right next to the person that has $100 million and be extremely happy for that person and also be extremely proud of yourself that you made $10 million. That's how that goes to me. That's how I look at that analogy. It's just a very dangerous mentality to have to me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we all know Jadakiss is the leader, but we're going to be mad at Styles P? Fuck no. You know how much he's given to this culture, how much we respect and appreciate his content, his verses, his songs, his albums, his mixtapes, his Styles P. So don't let people talk to you like that. Don't let people try to manipulate you or convince you of that. You're not Michael Jordan, so that means that you're a failure. Nah, you can't convince a nigga like me that shit. I'm sorry. If I come through this bitch and I'm AI, still get your ass crossed up. Sopranos update. All right. If y'all watch my last podcast and some of the releases or the full episode that dropped, y'all know I'm catching up on the Sopranos. I needed a late pass on that. I never watched the Sopranos, but I'm now on season 6, 6B. So there's 2 different like pieces of season 6. You know what I'm saying? They did the same thing with Stranger Things. Like they went through the whole season and then, it was over. And then they released like, a finale piece, like 2 or 3 episodes. I think they did something similar in Ozark. So at this point, I'm almost done with the Sopranos. My opinion from what I said earlier stands strong. It stands true. I really, really feel like it's lacking that common, strong element and theme and storyline. You know what I'm saying? That consistent storyline that strings through every season, unless the biggest storyline is Tony Soprano and his issues with women. And if that comes up in the last episodes, or if that's why people say that they hate the ending, because he ends up killing his nephew over this girl, this real estate girl or something like that, because Tony and these fucking women, whether it's his wife, whether it was the Russian girl in the early seasons, whether it was the car dealership girl, whether it was his captain's girl that he met at the horse stables that he ended up taking, whether he was going at a psychiatrist, she deaded him. He took down the one-legged girl, you know what I'm saying? Like whether it was her, um, whether it's this new girl in season 6, you know what I'm saying, that his nephew is on as well. And we seen how Tony reacted probably a couple seasons ago, you know what I'm saying, when he knew somebody that was taking down a girl that he liked or he previously dealt with. Had a man that approached him face to face about that Russian girl. It's like, I just want to let you know, y'all are broken up or whatever. We exchanged information. We started rocking. I like her a lot. Told the man to his face, now we good. It's all good. You know, she's a good girl. Popped up at his house one day, random, beat the shit out of him. Kind of got some hate in his blood, right? But that's been the most consistent storyline to me of him and women. And you could say Tony and his family too, you know, him and Carmela. I think that dynamic is dope. Him and his wife is always, those are number one and number two actors in the whole shit. Him and Carmela, his wife. That's a whole dope storyline as well. Him and his kids, it annoys me a little bit, you know what I'm saying, because his son's a bad actor and he's so fucking annoying with how bad he is as a kid. You know what I'm saying? And some of that is because I just can't relate. I mean, I come from a different type of household. You know, physical discipline was a factor, and discipline period was a factor. Ain't nobody talking to their parents like that. Ain't nobody cursing out their mother and their father. Ain't nobody doing, so that shit just, I can't relate to that. So that's a personal thing. Well, I'm just like, fuck that part of this. That shit annoys the fuck out of me. I be want to skip that shit. But yeah, man. I mean, by the time I get to this finale, where it seems the whole world says they hate how the show ended, I'm going to be back here again. I'm going to wrap up my full ending assessment of season 6, Soprano as a whole, as well as the ending that everybody seems to hate. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to see where we go from there. But yeah, quick Sopranos update for all of the Sopranos fans out there. I'll be back shortly on that because I'm really, really flying through season 6. Before I get to bar of the week, there's something else that I want to do. I want to try to remember to do these every podcast that I sit down as well, which is just a flowers segment. You know what I'm saying? And we do get those harsh reminders that we don't give people their love, their flowers, their respect that they deserve when they're here. That's a constant. That's so it's the norm for us. We glide through life, and we glide through these days, and we forget a lot of things that are important. We forget a lot of people that's important. We forget to say I love you so many times. We forget to say I miss you, or I want to see you, or I'm sorry, or I apologize so many times. And me as well. I'm human. I have the same fault. You know what I'm saying? And you know, rest in peace once again to past day. It's a reminder, you know, that we need to continue to cherish the things that we love, you know, more frequent. We need to do it. We can't just wait for Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Christmas, and Thanksgiving, or when somebody passes away or somebody's birthday. We can't wait for those moments, man. And I really, really want to try to remind myself to not be like that. I've been like that my whole life. We all are. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, it's we fly blind sometimes. Sometimes we're just in this autopilot going from day to day to day, especially those that have, you know, robotic routines. You know, it's like sometimes you don't forget, like, yeah, I've been married to this woman for 20 years, but let me stop at the door and remind her that I love her. You know what I'm saying? Like, we forget shit like that. We really, really do, until something extreme reminds us. And I don't know. I don't want to get caught up in any type of energy that starts to bring us down. You know what I mean? I just want to introduce a flowers segment to this. And I think it's because it's the first time I'm doing it. It's only right that I give my first flower segment to my brother Shata, right? Now, of course, I can give it to a bunch of people that y'all don't know, but Y'all don't know my mother, so I ain't doing that with y'all. All right. I do have like a very private side to my life that is never gonna end up on this camera. But a lot of y'all do know me from Rare Beat Entertainment. And I started Rare Beat Entertainment with my brother Shata. And I do want to give him his flowers because as much as we are alike, we are also extremely different. It's not easy for me to put up with his shit. It's not easy for him to put up with my shit or how we are. You know what I'm saying? Like we definitely are alphas, but we've done a lot through life. And I just want to stick on battle rap. You know what I'm saying? Because once again, that's where y'all know us from, and that's where you know me from. And I want to give him his flowers because there would be no RBE without my brother. There would have never been a Rare Beat Entertainment. You know what I'm saying? Like he and I both were that decision point. He and I both had those initial and original ideas to start our own platform. You know what I'm saying? And Rare Beat Entertainment is it's given me a public legacy. You know what I'm saying? Like I've never wanted to be no celebrity, or I'm not into that. You know, I don't care about. I haven't cared about popularity since high school. It was fun being popular in high school. Ever since then, I've outgrown that shit. I'm way more of a private, discreet person now. You know what I'm saying? Like it's humbling and it's an honor to bump into people every time I step out of my house that respect and appreciate me from Rare Beat Entertainment. But that's not what I'm really into. I'm not into being in the supermarket trying to buy a loaf of bread and somebody like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Like that's not my thing. I know some people relish in that shit. That's not my thing. I just want to get that out the way before I talk about, my private legacy, which is more important to me than my public legacy. My private legacy is, when I'm no longer here, how my friends and my family will remember me. That's way more important to me, my private legacy. But RBE has also given me a public legacy. You know what I'm saying? I see comments or tweets or shout out from Africa, shout out from China. It's like, wow, it's crazy. And even though we've had this platform for going on 10 years now, it still shocks me. The reach of entertainment and social media and the internet and Rare Beat Entertainment and hip hop and battle rap and myself, it still surprises me to this day. And having a public legacy of where people that you've never even met or people that didn't grow up with you or know you personally could still know who you are, know of you, or even categorize you like, that guy right there is this type of person. That's your public legacy. That guy right there stood for this, or he was about this, or he did this, and you never even met that person. That's your public legacy. And I never set out to have a public legacy, but I have one. And Shot is a part of that. You know what I'm saying? Like once again, like I said, there would be no RBE if he and I both didn't elect to start it. So yeah, I think it's only right that my first flowers segment goes to my brother Shata. Salute to you, boy. I'll see you in a couple weeks, hopefully, or something like that. Yeah, we're gonna do this once again. I'm gonna leave y'all with the bar of the week. Appreciate y'all once again, and I'll be right back at y'all in a second.
That's what a bitch might do. I wish your daddy would have been got murked so he ain't create a piece of shit like you. Let's keep it real, blood. Let's keep it real, blood. You almost 40, talking about you a real blood. Probably ain't even got the same loyalty for your real blood. Oh, but you rap 20? I'm always 100. This a nigga that claim niggas don't want it to a nigga that's wanted. Yo shit, facts. This a nigga that claim niggas don't want it to a nigga that's wanted. This a nigga that claim niggas don't want it to a nigga that's wanted. Yo shit, I respect it, but I'm respected. You with the pyros, I'm with the pyrotechnics. You want to think?